Hello and good evening. Happy Wednesday evening. My name is Tina Bickford. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Here in the US, located in southern New Hampshire. So if you are here watching live, drop me a comment. Sorry, I'm tripping over something here. Drop me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let's see. I have a super fun, well, I don't know, a super fun card, I guess. They're all super fun. Hi, Louise. Welcome. Welcome. So, so you guys all know Susan Campfield. So Susan Campfield is my upline for Stampin' Up! And she lives in Minnesota and she does videos every Tuesday and Saturday. And because of the time that she does them and the time that I have to go to bed, I don't catch her videos until Wednesday morning. So I had this card all kind of planned out. And then I got up this morning and watched Sue's video because this is just what I do. And she's her Tuesday night video was one very similar to this. Mine's a little bit different. I do encourage you to go over and watch Susan's video because she's got great stuff. Very inspiring. Very inspiring. So we are going to be working with a stamp set that's on the last chance. So you guys all know, hello, Sandra from Oklahoma. Welcome back. So you guys are, if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, you're familiar with their catalog cycle. So the current annual catalog is through the end of April. We've got a new catalog coming out in May. I have it? I have it. It's right there. I have it. I've already looked through it. I'm okay. I'm good. I like everything in there. It's a little bit of a thinner catalog than the catalog that we're in right now. There's a lot of new stuff going on in there. There's a lot of returning favorites, so that's really good. But so Stampin' Up! Did refresh their last chance list, and this is one of my favorites. So Seaside Wishes bundle, it was the very first one that I owned that was the hybrid embossing folder where it does the embossing and die cutting. It is on the last chance list. Now I'm sad about that, but can I just tell you that there are some great new products, So I'm actually going to be working with one of the 2025 to 2027 in colors. So that's new, coming in May for those of you who are not demonstrators. If you are interested in being a demonstrator and you want to join my team, there is a link in this video for you to do that. If you are just interested in checking out that last chance list, hi Mom, hi Dad. If you are interested in checking out that last chance list, there is a link in this description, in the description of this video, also to shop with me if you do not already have a demonstrator. If you do have a demonstrator, show your own demonstrator some love, and order from him or her. So yeah, I'm a little bit sad that this bundle is going away, but I am really excited for some of the new products. I have been working with some of the new products, and I do have some alternates that I made using those new products. So you guys will get to see some of the new products if you haven't already seen some of them, because so a lot of demonstrators that went to on stage had the ability to pre-order some of this stuff, so they had it in hand. They've had it in hand for a while now. I didn't go to on stage because it sold out very, very quickly. So I got mine. I got mine this week, so I've been playing with it. So I'm not going to bore you with anything else. Couple of just really quick things. If you don't follow me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. There's a link in this description. If you are watching but you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. I make great things, and I hope to inspire you to make great things. You can also, let me see, shop with me. There's a link to my Pinterest board. So if you are inspired to make a card, this card that we make tonight, I would love to see your version of it. So I would love it if you would join my Pinterest board and share it over there. We've got some great cards already going on. So, oh, all of that, very chatty, I guess. I'm so chatty. Let me switch down to the desk camera and show you the things that we're going to be using tonight. Okay. So my designer series paper that I'm using is coming from this pack. This is the Everyday Happiness. This is an online exclusive. We've looked at this. We've looked at this this DSP before. It's geared more towards scrapbooking. So there are fewer patterns, but you get more sheets of each pattern. I think there's only 3 patterns instead of 4. So anyway, we're going to be working with one of these. We're actually working with this one now because I've cut it. This one actually has a little bit of crumb cake on the bottom. You'll see that piece when I pull that out. We're going to be working with some crumb cake. And we are going to be working with, here it is, cloud cover. This is one of the new ones. This is a really super soft blue. So for those of you who, oh, Emily, thank you so much. Thanks. For those of you who are subscribers to the Paper Pumpkin and you got the Daisy Daydream Paper Pumpkin kit, if any of you were racking your brains trying to figure out what color those envelopes were that had the daisies on them, guess what? I matched it up. It doesn't say cloud cover on it, but it matches perfectly with this cloud cover. So we're going to be using that. Also in colors. So these are actually the new in colors. These are the pearls. So this one is called Secret Sea and Cloud Cover, Timid Tiger, Darling Duckling, and then Strawberry Slush, which is actually a returning color. I know that those colors are hard to see. This one is like a really dark grayish blue, and the Cloud Cover, which you just saw. So we're going to be using some of those. We're going to be using the fancy, well, okay, the crumb cake ink. We'll get that out of the way because even though it's closed, you guys know I will be covered in that. And oops. So these are the fancy borders dies. So in Susan's video last night, she actually used this one right here. I'm going to be using this one. So these are this one, and these two all cut borders. These two actually cut windows in your cardstock. So I haven't even used the heart one yet. I've used all of the others. So I've got to do something with that one. But we're going to be using this one. So I'm just going to pull that one out. Fancy Borders dies. And then we're going to be using the Soft Waves 3D embossing folder. Another one of my favorites. I'm going to be using that one. And then the Seaside Wishes. So the Seaside Wishes, this whole bundle, the stamp set, the embossing folder, and the dies, they are on the last chance list. I believe it is $47.60 US for the whole bundle. You can buy the stamp set and then the dies and the embossing folder separately. It's a little more expensive if you do it that way, but last chance bundle. Okay, so let's pull our pieces here. We're going to start with our cloud cover, our card base. This is 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Then we have our designer series paper. See how it's got that beautiful crumb cake on there? This looks like beach to me. So I'm using it for beach. And I mean, it's in a pack called Everyday Happiness. So who wouldn't be everyday happy on the beach? So that is 4 by 5 1/4. We have one piece of white cardstock for the inside of our card that is 4 by 5 1/4 also, same size as your DSP. I have this piece of white cardstock. So when I cut my card base in half and I cut my 5 1/4 off here and then trimmed the 4 inches, I was left with this piece. So this piece is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. Yeah, 5 3/4. We don't need this whole big piece. This is the piece we're going to emboss in the sand dollars on. So it's just that this is what I had left over, but this is what will be in the project sheet for size because this is what's in the picture. And then we have 2 pieces of crumb cake. One is 1 3/4 inches squared and one is 2 inches squared. Okay, let's get started. Let's get started. You guys know I love this card. It's so fun. All right, bring in our paper trimmer. And I'm going to line up my paper on the 8 1/2 inch side, the 8 1/2, and we're just going to score it in the middle. So 4 1/4, lining that up right against that top ledge there. And I'm just holding pressure on my card this way against that ledge. It keeps my cardstock nice and steady. It doesn't move around when I try to score or cut. So I'm going to take my light gray. My light gray is my scoring blade. My dark gray is my cutting blade. Move that cutting blade out of the way, and we're just going to score. Now, I do like to just go a couple of times over there, medium pressure. You don't want to wrench on that. You just want a nice, crisp score line. And you have an indented score, the indented side of the score because you just pressed into the paper, and then you have this raised side. You're always going to fold in towards the raised side. So we're just going to do that, and we are going to burnish that. Then we are going to set that aside. We're going to do some work with the designer series paper. Find your words, Tina. With the designer series paper. Okay. So for me, when I was looking at this card, I envisioned this as like the sky and the sand. Now you could think this water and sand, you could do it any way you want. You could do it this way. I just thought it looked good with the blue on the top and the crumb cake on the bottom. So I'm going to take this die. This is the cutting blade here. And you see the cutting blade is actually like in the center of this die. So keep that in mind when you place this on your DSP. I'm going to place this down at the bottom, towards the bottom, and I want this little point to be, it doesn't have to be exactly center, but if you were, OCD like me, you could do that, make it center. And then I'm also looking for this bottom edge of my die to be even from the corner up to the die. That should place the cutting blade of this die exactly where I want it. And I'm going to secure that with a Post-it. Gently move that to the side, and I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. Then, so because we were doing die cutting, you've seen me do this 100 times if you've been following me from the beginning, because this is, I love this machine. I love dies and embossing, adding all of that texture to my cards. I love it. So I need my base plate 1, my thin die adapter 2, and I'm going to need 2 number 3 cutting plates. So the one that's all cut up is going to go on the bottom. I'm going to cut in that direction, and then the top one we'll put on there after I load this up. So I'm going to load this Now, when you're doing a die that is straight across or has a long straight edge, it can sometimes be hard to wrench that through. So if you just turn it just a bit, just, it doesn't take much, just angle it just a bit. You do have to be careful that you don't go over your sides, like here on your, sorry, like here. You don't want to go over because then you'll crush your paper. So I'm going to turn this at just a little bit of an angle. I'm doing it so that the die is actually between these two sides of the die cutting machine, because then I know for sure that it is going to go through that machine without bumping the die. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to place my second number 3 cutting plate on the top, and we're going to roll that through. And because the length of this and because of the width of the paper, you get that little bit of that clunk. I'm not going to roll it all the way through because I don't see any point in putting the rest of this design series paper through the machine, so I'm just backing it out. Okay, move that out of the way. Bring in this, and I gotta be really careful with this Post-it note. These are those recycled Post-it notes, and they are sticky. These things are very sticky. I think they'd hold the house together, for crying out loud. Okay, there. And this is what we're left with. So we've got our 2 pieces here, okay? This piece we're not going to use for this project. You could use it in place of the piece that we're going to use. You decide. All right, we're going to pull our card base back in. And we're going to put this design series paper right on the card front. I'm going to go ahead, isn't that side just, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue. Put that on. And you just want to make sure you have an even border around to the top and then both sides. Don't worry about the bottom. Even Steven. And if your math is correct, if my math is correct, because you guys are going by my dimensions, you will have a 1/8 inch border around those sides, okay? So just a nice gentle rub on that. Make sure that that glue adheres. Don't press too hard. You don't want that glue to smush out. There. Then we are going to, I'm turning this upside down because it's a little bit easier for me. I did get a little bit of glue there. So let me just get that. I told you guys not to do it and I went and did it. I'm just using my well-used adhesive remover to get that excess glue off of there. Perfect, good enough. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to, let me see if I can, let me see. Oh, Ohio and Alabama in the house. Hello, welcome Julie and Patricia. Oh, let me see if I can zoom in here to show you this, because I think I want to be able to show you really close. So with this particular die that I'm using, you can see that it actually leaves a mark. It leaves a mark because it's taking that edge of the die. That's actually going to come in handy. So what I'm going to place my die with that cutting blade right up against that DSP, and you're going to be able to feel that. So you can actually feel, like, if you're off, you're going to feel it. It fits right in there, kind of snug. I mean, it just fits right in there. So I'm going to watch that line. That line that's in my DSP is from the edge, and I have my cutting blade right up against the cut edge of the DSP. I want a 1/8 inch border here. So I'm going to move this down until I see a 1/8 inch, roughly a 1/8 inch. This part, I will tell you, is not perfect, but I'm going to go ahead and secure that again with that Post-it. Let me zoom out, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this right through my die cutting machine. So let me move it off to the side and load this up in there. Now I'm just going to fold that Post-it back so that I can see where that die is. I'm doing the same thing. I'm fitting it inside the two walls here so that I know it won't get bumped. Put that plate in, and I'm just going to roll that through until I hear that clunk. Oh, it didn't clunk. Ooh, all right. So roll it back through. I don't want to roll the rest of my card through there. Move that to the side. Let's get this. So I took this Post-it and I rubbed it all over my sleeve. Now you guys have seen I've shown you my two cats, and you've seen well, you've seen my two cats, but I also have a dog. So my clothes are covered in dog hair and cat hair. So there's hair now all over that Post-it. Oh well. So there is our, oh, and see, I did it. I went too far and crushed that. It's so funny because this is exactly what Susan did in her video. And I said, don't do that on yours, Tina. Don't do it. And there, look at, I went and did it. Okay, well, this is our border. It's a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch, but I can live with that. That's our border. This is the piece that we have left. I have a little piece of that Post-it note on there. Let me get that off. This thing is amazing. It's my best friend because it gets all of the glue off. All the glue. Okay. Now, this piece, I'm going to put that die aside. I'm going to emboss this piece. Now, this is where you could use that piece that we die cut. If you want, you could use this instead of this. I like the look of the embossed piece, so I'm going to go with that. I'll leave this one here and I'll show you what the difference looks like. We can take a look at that. So this piece is going to go this way, and I want the waves to go this way. To me, this looks like, you know, this looks like water, so I want the waves. So I'm just going to be very selective about how I want those waves. I'm just figuring out how do I want those waves on that paper. So I'm just going to do that. Yeah, right, Louise? I don't know where. You know what I would have? I would have a gluey mess if I didn't have my adhesive eraser, that's for sure. I would have glue. I would be covered in glue. My animals would be covered in glue. Everybody. I think my neighbors would be covered in glue. I'd have so much glue all over me. So I'm going to just put that in, folded edge first, use my number 4 embossing plate and just roll that through. Set that aside. Check out what that looks like. This folder is awesome. Look at how awesome that is. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's put that aside. And all right. So the next step is we're going to take our inside panel. We're going to stamp on this. So I'm going to pull in from this Seaside Wishes, just one of these sayings. I think on my sample one, I did your friendship is the best gift. So let's do sometimes the simplest things mean the most. Oh, I had a block right here. That's all right. We'll get this one. And then I'm going to stamp this in a crumb cake because I want a color that is not the primary color on the inside of the card. So we'll just take the crumb cake. And when I stamp this, I'm just going to stamp it up towards the top, still in the center, but towards the top. Okay. Clean that off. And then we are going to close up that. We're going to adhere this to the inside of the card. So far, so good. So, and this one is same thing. If my math is right, you're going to have an even border around all 4 sides here. So just a gentle rub on that. Don't squeeze it too much. I made the mistake once of saying, oh, I'll get that really flat. And I used my bone folder to, yeah, I got the glue squished all out. I was covered. Okay. And we're going to take our embossed piece. And you could decide if you wanted to use the embossed or debossed side. I like the embossed side. So we're going to just put glue on the back of that. And I'm being pretty liberal but light with the glue. So I'm liberal as far as the coverage, but I'm just being light on the glue as far as the amount. And then this one. All right. We are going to put this on the bottom of our card, but I don't want it lined up exactly with the bottom edge. I want to give it just a little, give it a little bit of wiggle room, but I don't want it to be super noticeable. So this is about 1/8 of an inch here. I want it to be even less than 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go with 1/32 of an inch. Just that ever so slight little dimension, and I'm getting glue all over my fingers so that I can place that correctly on there, that spacing. Like that. Just see if I can, if I zoom in, you guys can see it a little bit better when I zoom. So let me just zoom in so you can see. It's just that very, very little teeny tiny bit. Okay. All right. The reason for that is if you line it up directly with the bottom, so if you line it up exactly with the bottom, when you close your card, it could get hooked on that because it will line up exactly with the cut edge of your card front. So by lifting it up just a smidge, you prevent that from catching on the inside part. Cool. So far, so good. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I love it. I love it. This is, so if you decided that you wanted to use this piece, you would just put that piece in there. Now, this piece is cut to the 5 1/4 inch length, so it's not the full 5 1/2 inch like the card front. So it won't go all the way to the won't go all the way to the edges, but this is what it would look like if you used that DSP. In the yes, Louise, I noticed that too. In the You Are Remarkable, I saw that. Yes, I think so, I mean it's a different font, but yeah, the same sentiment. Okay, so let's do some fun stuff. I am going to grab this last piece of white cardstock. Let me just grab a piece of scrap paper here and my blending brush for my crumb cake. And I'm just going to come in and I'm going to load up my blending brush with some crumb cake. Hi, Louise. How are you? I'm just taking a little bit of that off just to make sure that it's not heavy and clumpy. And then I'm just going to come in and randomly put color on this. And I get a little bit more. And I'm just kind of randomly. I'm not being real methodical about where that's going on. So just all over. And I know that that's very hard to see because it's very light. You can do yours as dark as you want. Then we are going to grab our hybrid embossing folder and our die, the die that goes with it. So with the hybrid embossing folders, you are going to you're going to place the die on the side, on the inside of the embossing folder, but it'll be on the side that has the Stampin' Up! Logo. So when you open that up, your die will fit. And I know everyone, you hear everyone say it'll snap right in. It doesn't actually snap in, but you can hear it kind of clicking into place. And then this is the raised side. So the paper I want my colored part, my blended part to go down towards the dies. So when I put this through the embossing folder, this side right here is going to push up into the paper. So the other side will become embossed. I'm just going to close that. We're going to put that through the die cutting machine. With the, when you're doing the hybrid embossing, you do want just the base plate 1 and your plate number 4. Roll that through. Actually, I'm not done with that die cutting machine. Let's just do the one last thing we have to do. One last thing we have to die cut here. We are going to cut these 2 little pieces of coral. I guess they're coral. And we're just going to be, then we're going to be done with this die cutting. Hi, Carissa from New Brunswick, Canada. All right, let's put that in there. That there. We're die cutting, so we're using that number 1, that number 2, and 2 of our number 3s. And I got with my last order, I got new cutting plates. But you know, I don't know. Are you guys like making you like? Is it like? It's like painful to use a brand new one because I don't want to mess them up. They're so beautiful and pretty and clean and neat. And I just don't want to mess them up. So I have my putty end of my take your pick tool. So I'm just using this one here. I'm just using this end, not on the take your pick tool, and I'm just kind of rubbing through all of those holes. This is just a die brush. And that just pushes a lot of that cardstock out for you. It doesn't get it all, but it does get some. And you should use this on your, I don't know where mine is, your, it comes with a little like foam pad so that you put this on the foam pad and you brush through it. These little ones. Okay, that's good enough. We're gonna take the rest of that out with our take your pick. All right, so I'm just taking the pokey end because you can see, although I did the brush, there's a lot of it still in there. So I'm just going to poke at some of these relief holes and get that cardstock to cut free. And then I can just use this take your pick tool and get the rest of those out. So wow, I did much better with the other one. So one trick, I don't know if you guys have tried this. I should have done this. So one trick, when you have really intricate dies like this, the one, and I've tried it and it works, and I don't know why I didn't just do it tonight. But if you use some bubble wrap or like one of those foam mailers, you know, those bubble mailers, if you get those in the mail, save them. And then when you have the intricate dies like this, you put that in the die cutting machine when you're die cutting these, and it actually will help get all of those little pieces out like first time. It's very good. I'll put that up later. Do this one. sometimes when I poke these things out, it all of the little bits stay in the die. And of course, I'm not lucky enough for that to happen while I'm live. Already. Is anybody else sad that this set is going away? I am, because I like warm weather. I like beach. Well, in fact, like I like beach. I like beaches. Funny though, I'm not a huge fan of the beaches in my area. I couldn't tell you. I think it's because of the water temperature is just so cold, and to me, it's just so cold. Like even on the hottest days in the summer. There. All of that out there. Look at that mess. All clean. Mess all clean. Set those aside. Okay. Grab our card and let's grab our sand dollars. And you guys have seen this, that it embosses them like that. And emboss. So the reason I did the blending on it was just to give them a little bit of color before die cutting them. Okay, so this is where I did this. So what you want to do with all of these on, we're just going to place these on here, but I wanted to be very specific about where I wanted them. So I'm just going to come in and just kind of place them roughly where I'm thinking. This is how I did it on my sample card, like this. The most important part, if you're going to make this card the way that I'm making it, the most important part here when you're putting these front elements on is to have one element that lines up with the bottom of your card. Now, the reason I did that is it will actually help this card stand better for display, because the front of the card is, without it, the front of the card is a little bit shorter than the back of the card. So when you stand it, it actually tilts forward. That's hard for you to see, but it tilts forward. It will still stand for display, but I thought I can do better than that. So I'm going to take some of these. I'm going to put adhesive on some of them. So I'm going to do some of these with the white glue. Green glue, white glue, whatever we want to call it. So I'm going to put this one flat. And then the coral, which, let me just grab my precision tip bottle here. Now with this one, we're going to have another element like glued kind of on it, holding it down. So I'm not getting real crazy about putting the glue on there. I just want it to be placed, basically where I want it, kind of right in there, like so. And then same with this one, just really putting it on some of those larger elements, the larger little, I said elements, the little areas. Now one of the other tricks for this, when you're doing this, if you don't want the glue to like smush out, just let the glue dry for a hot minute before you put it on, and then it becomes like a repositionable glue. Sorry, that piece is bugging me right there. Okay, and this one I want to put right here, like so. And then these last ones, I'm going to put these on with dimensionals. This one. I'm going to use the biggest one for the one that's going to be lined up at the bottom. So this one I just want to put here, kind of, I'm hiding the, the edges of this, plus the dimensionals, because where the dimensionals are, they're actually going to help hold both of those in place also. So for this one, we want to be aware of where we are putting dimensionals. So I'm just going to grab a couple like this. And the nice thing about this, where it's embossed, I can actually see that, like, where the edge of my card is, I can tell that where the star part of the sand dollar is, I'm good to put dimensionals there. So I'm just going to come in. Oops, that really is stuck right to me. Just going to come in like that, and a couple more at the top, like so. And there are little starfish die cuts that come with this set. You could certainly do some of the starfish. There's some like seagrass in there. You could do those, put those on there. I'm just going to line this one up with the bottom, making sure I don't go past the side here. Like so, like that. And cap my glue. Doesn't get all icky. And then I'm just going to come in with some of these gorgeous pearls. And I'm coming in with that cloud cover. And I thought I would place them like right in here, where they just kind of look like almost like bubbles to me. And I'm just doing large, medium, and then small, just like that. Like so. And that is our card. So that is what our card looks like. Walmart bag. Okay, so let me just read some of it. So Louise is saying that she loves the bubble wrap trick and use rubbing wax paper on the die before cutting. So also rubbing a dryer sheet. If you can rub a dryer sheet on your dies, or you can actually die cut through a dryer sheet, and that will help also. It's short-lived. You can get like a couple of cuts out of it. And Patricia is saying that you can also use a Walmart bag singular layer between the die and the cardstock. Helps with the cutting. Yeah, okay, nice. So there's our card. Now, when you stand this one, and it's going to be hard for you to see, when you stand the card now, it stands more upright. What's really cool about it, and you'll see it in the pictures that I post on this, because when I take my pictures, I obviously take a picture of the front of the card this way. So it's got this beautiful, like, it stands here on the table, but it's got this beautiful scalloped edge here that you can kind of look through. It gives it depth. So there's that. I love this card. I love these fancy border dies are super cool. So this is the card that I did earlier. Same thing. I just you know, these are spaced a little bit differently, and my bubbles went this way. So there's those two. And because I can't do this without doing a paper pumpkin alternate, of course, I had to do one for the paper pumpkin. This is the this is a stamp set that is in that Meant to Be stamp set that is an online exclusive. This is an element from the paper pumpkin. This is actually part of the envelope, one of the envelopes, and all I did was use the fancy border die, and I cut myself a die, and I just laid it on here and sponged and moved it, and laid it on and sponged and just moved it until I had those clouds. Gorgeous. Love it. So there's that one. And this is the distressed tile embossing folder, which, by the way, is also on the last chance list there. Then we have new product alert. Here's a new product coming out. This one I believe is in the new catalog. So this one is called Sunrise Sailing. It is a hybrid embossing. So what I did with this one I actually used one of the, this is a die that comes with the kit. This one was a little bit tricky because it's supposed to look like water. And then I embossed it, but then I needed a piece that would stand. So I cut another small piece and I plugged it in there and then just cut it at an angle so that this one will do the same thing. This one will stand nice and straight like that. Di, thank you so much for joining. Another new product alert. This one is called Impressions of Bloom. Look at the way that the dies actually cut the flowers out and the middle of the flowers. Can you see that they're so cute? And the thing that's cool about this, they're two separate dies. So there's one die that cuts the outside and one die that fits, you know, nestles in there that just does just the flower, the inside of the flower petals. Cute. New paper that comes with that. You can buy it in a suite. So this is the paper that goes in the suite. And I used one of the flowers as the little kickstand. I'm going to call it a kickstand because it's kind of what it is, right? And then I used the, oh my goodness, what is this one? Dashes, the dashes and designs embossing folder, which guess what, folks, also on the last chance list. And this is actually the Timid Tiger. The cardstock is the Timid Tiger. So Timid Tiger and Strawberry Slush. These are the two more of the new in colors there. And then one more alternate for you. This one. So this is from the Strawberry Slush. This one, I used one of those other border dies, the one that to me looks like a cloud. That's what it looks like. This is some designer series paper that's in this suite called Cheers and Sips. So the paper all has like, well, these two drinks, these two glasses here are actually die cut directly from, well, I fussy cut them, but you can die cut them directly from the paper. I fussy cut because this one I wanted the rosemary in there. So if you die cut, it would have cut it off, and I didn't want to do that. And then I just stamped and die cut two other little elements from the set. Did the same thing over here. So I'm actually using my fruit as the kickstand. So there they are. There are all of the cards. So I don't know. I'm just calling this the Fancy Borders Edge card. Yeah. Louise, I'm still working on my paper pumpkin kit. Can you believe, like, I still have so much stuff, so many supplies left from this kit. I still have like 3 card bases, and I don't know how many cards I've gotten. I've shared a lot of them with you guys. I will be posting all of them over on the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club. If you're not already a member over there, you should be. There's lots of great ideas over there. So yeah. All right. So let me see. Let me see the Timid Tiger. Oh, you like the Timid Tiger one the best? Yeah, I like that. You know, I like that. I love this cloud cover is one of my favorite in the new in colors. It's one of my favorite. It's also one where the ink, they were working on the ink pad. So I don't have the actual ink pad for the cloud cover because it is back ordered. They needed to work with the color. I guess when it dried, it wasn't matching the cardstock exactly. So they're working on that because quality matters. So let me flip back to my laptop, figure out how to do it. My webcam, here I am. So yeah, I'm so excited everybody was here for this. So that's the card. I've already done the project sheet. I do have the project sheet posted already over on my Stampin' Up website, which is the do I have a link? No, so you'll get the link to the project sheet as soon as I'm done with the video. As soon as I end the video, I'll go ahead and put that link in because I've already got it ready. In the description of this YouTube video, in the YouTube video, is a list of all of the supplies that I used to make the Seaside Wishes card. And all of the links to follow me on Facebook and to join my Pinterest board and all of that. So yeah, I hope you guys make this card, or even if you don't have the fancy borders dies, you can take a pair of scissors and cut yourself a fancy border and just save the piece that you cut off and emboss it and put it right on the inside. You don't need to have that. You don't need to have those exact, or if you have other border dies, any of them will work. But I would love to see your cards. So I hope that you join my Pinterest board. And yeah, subscribe, like my videos, share my videos, tell all your friends about me. Because, you know, I'm cool. I'm not cool. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to show you what card making, how fun card making can be, and it's just fun. And giving handmade cards to somebody, you know, I still have I don't know if Diane, if you're still on, I still have cards that you made me 20 something years ago. So yeah, I save all of the cards. Cards are great. Handmade cards are great. So yeah, thank you for joining me. And I will be back Sunday with another great card that I will think of on the fly, probably Saturday night, because that's how I roll. So I hope that you all join me on Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you then.